In this video, we'd like to show you the bottom job we had done on Freebird to prepare her for a trip to Michigan. We had more than just new bottom paint applied. We had some blisters repaired and anodes changed. Feel free to put your questions in the comments section and we'll get back to you. The survey we had performed when we purchased Freebird identified some blisters on the bottom, as well as the fact that the bottom hadn't been painted in over 10 years and was in need of it, as you can see by some of the pictures. We took Freebird down to Angler Marine down in Scottsboro, Alabama, to a very reputable place for bottom paint. Angler Marine has got a great maintained 50-ton lift, and you can see the guys as they started to lift Freebird out. They checked to make sure that the slings that go under the boat were in the proper position so they weren't pulling against these shafts that come out the bottom of the boat. That's something that some boats over the years, the sling indicator on the side of the boat gets moved or replaced and in the incorrect spot. Freebird's sling indicators are accurate, but these guys double check just to make sure. Angler Marine has a very nice large heated painting tent that Freebird will fit inside. This allowed us to have the bottom painted in the off season, out of the boating season. Temperatures need to be in the mid 50 degree range or above for bottom paint to dry and adhere correctly. So this is an ideal place to take it in cold weather. I researched bottom paint quite a bit, and because the fact that we were going to be traveling on the loop in freshwater and saltwater, I decided on the brand called Seahawk bottom paint, and they make multiple kinds of bottom paint. We went with one called Sharkskin. It's a hard modified epoxy, so if you get into saltwater and need to scrape off barnacles, it holds up better than just a completely ablative paint that you would use in freshwater. As algae grows on that, the paint actually comes off gradually, taking the algae with it. So we've had great luck with the Sharkskin in total freshwater. We've had it a couple of years now, even though we've never ended up going into saltwater. It did a great job for us. So some of the other work we had done at this time, while we had it out of the water, was we had the hydraulic lines, both the internal to the engine compartment and external outside the boat of the hydraulic swim platform, all replaced. They were original since the boat was new. The other thing that we had done is we had all the anodes replaced, even though they weren't in too bad a shape. And there's something that I think a lot of people miss on their boats, is that your bow thruster and your stern thruster, if you have one, there's actually anodes on those, sacrificial anodes, and they're very important because those are very expensive pieces of machinery on your boat. But the anodes are hidden under the plastic propellers. They're plastic on our boat, most of them they are. And so they need to be removed and new anodes attached underneath those. So if you're having your bottom painted, at least have those checked to make sure they don't need to be replaced. The next step to your bottom job after the boat's pulled out of the water is a good thorough pressure washing. As you can see from the video here, the guys did a good job of cleaning up Freebird, and this also exposes, once it dries, all the blisters that need work. Angler Marine has a great fiberglass guy that did a good job on Freebird's blisters. The first step in the blister repair job is kind of grinding out the blisters, and then you need to repair the fiberglass underneath. And there was, they really looked at Freebird and did, even where they were suspect that a blister might be starting, they went and cleaned that area out good, refiberglassed and gel coated, and then it's an important step. You need to reapply epoxy sealer over all that fresh white fiberglass. After 2 coats of fresh bottom paint, as well as a little repair job to the boot stripe on Freebird, they lowered her back into the water for the trip back to Chattanooga. These guys did a great job. The bottom was just as smooth as could be. When you looked at it, you couldn't tell they had done any of that repair work to the fiberglass at all. And we saw an extra 2 or 3 mile an hour at the same RPM levels with that fresh bottom paint. Really let her slide through the water nicely. To avoid these zebra mussels that grew on our stainless steel trim tabs, our next bottom job will have these covered with the same bottom paint to avoid this kind of growth. These were prevalent up in Michigan, and also they're out in salt water. Please subscribe and come along for the ride.